Every now and then a show comes across that you really do think that you know what it's going to be about. The show opens up and you're like, that's what this show is doing. It's pretty much going to be it. And then it shocks you. I'm Quitting Heroing is a classic case of a hidden gem that is much more than what it seems like at face value. A series that goes above and beyond and really does something that shocks you and makes you think on things. Something that really sticks with you and redefines the genre that it's in. But this is my review of I'm Quitting Heroing, a 12-episode series that aired in the spring 2022 anime season. So let's jump right into it. I'm Quitting Heroing opens up with the hero of this fantasy world, Leo. And at the beginning of the story, Leo has defeated the Demon Lord. The world is safe, peace is abound, and the people are celebrating. But not for very long. As Leo returns back home to his people, they quickly shun him. They believe he's a threat now. He's dangerous. The Demon Lord's gone, and now he is the threat. We need to exile him. He's a monster. And sadly, the king goes with his people and says, Leo, I'm sorry. I know what you've done, but I have to ask you to leave. Well, now after Leo has been basically exiled by the humans, he decides, well, I guess I'll join the Demon Lord. So he decides to go before the Demon Lord that he just defeated and ask if he can become a part of the Demon Lord army. Can I help you rebuild the Demon Lord army and be one of your generals? And yeah, she's not too happy about it and quickly storms at him and blasts him and tells him to get out. Well, after Leo gets the generals off to the side and talks with them, he does eventually convince them. If I can prove to myself that I am an asset to you, will you help me convince the Demon Lord to join the Demon Lord army? And so they'd agree. If you can prove to us that you are going to be a benefit to us, we will go to the Demon Lord and ask her to let you join. So it turns this whole thing where Leo is going to each one of these individual generals and helping them kind of improve how they handle things and eventually rebuild the Demon Lord army. So my thoughts on I'm Quitting Heroing. Honestly, what I just gave you is just the surface. And that's what makes this show so great. I'm Quitting Heroing is a really classic example of a show that is its title, but the title means so much more. This was a show that at some point halfway through it did something that really did truly shock me. Something that really flipped the table and really changed my perspective on what the story was telling. Yes, the ongoing joke of the idea of a show that is the title and the title is the show, it's not just that. It's not just that Leo has quit becoming a hero and now he's going to be the Demon Lord army. It's so much more than that. It's really the mindset of a hero that has been rejected by his people and what that really means to him in the end. This person that's fought for so long to protect his people and now being exiled and a monster amongst the people, and how that really affects him. And what's the deeper meaning behind him quitting what he was doing? I'm being very vague here because I don't want to spoil this, but it does do something that truly did shock me. It gets to this point where as he's helping all these generals that he finally talks to one of them about communication. And in that communication, in that lesson, he ends up spilling the beans and really does, like I said, really does open up the mind of this person and really does something really impactful that I really wasn't expecting. And from that point on, it just got better and better and better. And the story just keeps ramping up to this point where I'm like, this is literally one of the best shows of the season that nobody's talking about. It's truly doing something that I am just, after I watched an episode, I was constantly thinking about, what are they going to do next? Like, where are they going to take this character and what direction it's going? Is it going to get dark? Is it going to get happy? Who's going to win? Who's going to fall? It really does change your perspective from it just being about an overpowered main character with goofy shenanigans with the people that he defeated. It's so much more than that. And it all opens up from this experience of him helping each one of these generals in their own issues. And it ends up becoming something that will fold over later on. Everything is sort of for purpose. And I like how it all came to an impactful ending, except for the last episode. I'm very still mixed on the last episode. I think this is one of those true cases where I love this show, and I'm still struggling with the fact that I felt like the last episode wasn't as impactful as it should have been. As much as I still want to say the show is fantastic and it builds up so much character and so much intrigue and really hype things up to this really impactful ending, I want to say that the ending is fulfilling, but it's not impactful. It doesn't deliver on quite a bit of the buildup that it sort of created. And that's not to say the show's bad. I loved it. I love this show so much, but I feel like I overhyped it to this ending that wasn't that big. It's not to say that everything up to it is a waste, so don't get me wrong, because every single moment as Leo is struggling with himself and the loss of his purpose, it's building up at the same time with a side story about what is the conclusion that the Demon Lord herself needs to do. How can Ekidona, the Demon Lord, achieve what she wants? Will it cause sacrifice? Will it cause war? And I feel like that side of the story didn't really come to a satisfying end, while Leo's story itself was always good. Leo's story is what I loved so much about the series. As I said, his inner struggle with what he is and what he is no longer. Make no mistake, Leo is the star of this show, and he is so much more than just an overpowered main character. He is the sum of an overpowered main character who no longer has a purpose. And for that alone, I love this show. Even still, the side character's fantastic. I thought Ekidona was really goofy. I really loved her nature. She's very kind-hearted deep down, and that's exactly why Leo chooses her and wants to be at her side. Lily is a goofball. She's very much so the innocence of the show itself, and seeing her cry at times really hurt me. Steina is like the succubus character that's not really a succubus. Like, she doesn't act like one. She's very prideful in a sense, but at the same time, very nurturing. Edwall's just a big muscle head that you just want to hug. And Myrna's is easily one of the most fascinating kind of characters to bounce off of Leo's struggle that he's facing. Myrna's hates humans, and Leo should hate humans, and that turns into one of the most impactful story arcs of this show. Make no mistake, I'm Quitting Heroing is easily the gem of the season. If you are looking for a show that's off the beaten path that you may not have heard of, I'm Quitting Heroing is it. Despite the fact that I was let down by its ending, it doesn't take away from the fact that every single episode has these moments that make you really think about the mind state of the character itself, that really redefines the nature of an overpowered main character and really kind of dissects it in a way that I really did find truly fascinating. What happens when somebody loses their purpose? And can they create their own purpose? That's the shocking value that really comes from the series. And I want to so badly talk about what is going on with what makes it so great, but I really do want people to discover it themselves. It's sort of my same situation that I face with Punchline, where Punchline opens up as an ecchi show, but eventually it gets to this point where it flips it over on its head. And trying to tell people to get to that point, to find that twist, is sort of a struggle. You might not find the earlier segments that I loved about this show to be that interesting, but it's at the point where you finally have Leo address Myrna's and his issues that you really have the entire flow of the story itself flip on its head. And if you get to that point and it really does shock you, I think you're going to find a really fantastic show here. And despite my issues with the last episode, I really did enjoy it, and I highly recommend it. But that's my review of me desperately trying to avoid spoilers of I'm Quitting Heroing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. If you did, make sure to hit that like button down below and comment. Let me know what's thought of this series if you're going to be checking it out. I do like to point out the fact that there are some people out there that were not disappointed by the ending, so I'm just one person. I am but one humble reviewer. But as a humble reviewer, I ask that you subscribe to the channel or support us through Patreon or through our tips link in the description. We also have a super thanks button down there where you can support us directly through YouTube. I definitely appreciate everybody that does. Y'all take care.